If your primary residence is your largest asset, you are living in middle-class poverty, guaranteed. Why has investing in the stock market done better for Canadians than buying a primary residence? They're looking at home values from the Canadian Real Estate Association since 1980, which is the earliest point where they have reliable data. StatsCan for inflation, and they're comparing the S&P 500 of the most productive businesses in America, and the TSX Composite, which is Canada's primary stock index. The reason why real estate underperforms is because of all the costs that everyone ignores. Property tax, insurance, maintenance, capital expenditures, when your roof goes, landscaping, land transfer tax, and the tens of thousands of dollars you have to pay a real estate agent to sell. This is slightly offset by Canada's primary residence tax exemption. So if you live there as a primary residence and you sell it, you don't have to pay any capital gains tax to the government. Having said that, because a primary residence is typically not bought all cash, you have to pay financing or a mortgage, and that means the price needs to be double before you start at zero. That means the price needs to double and then you start at the same point because you're paying all that, literally the price of the entire home, in interest. So when you compare the two, the S&P 500 had over a 5,000% return. The Toronto Stock Exchange had a 1,200% return, and that's very comparable to the average home, which is about a 1,000% return over that period. Adjusted for inflation, the US index had a 6% average annual return, TSX had 2.7, and your primary residence 2.4. Data shows that your primary residence only grows as fast as inflation. Which brings up an interesting point. If it's more difficult to buy a primary residence today, it means salaries have not increased at the rate of inflation, which I think everyone knows. Your primary residence is not an investment. Never was, still isn't, never will be. Even not having to pay capital gains tax can't stop a primary residence from growing basically at the rate of inflation. A middle-class home yesterday is a middle-class home today, will be a middle-class home in the future. But a middle-class investment portfolio yesterday will be a rich person's investment portfolio today, will be an even richer person's investment portfolio tomorrow. This is why 66% of people own homes, but only 1% are actually rich. If your primary residence is your largest asset, you are living in middle-class poverty, guaranteed. Learn the lessons about money that homeowners can't teach you. Download my free newsletter linked off the bio. Good luck, take care.